especially if you consider their run in Croatia up until now. I mean, this is maybe the time for something that nobody was expecting. 7 maps in our pool, ban one after the other. No pre-bans, no preset map bans. Excuse me. Clubhouse final ban coast, and wow, we're actually gonna get theme park. This is
all right. Now
we've
we've gotten in casted in each region because we well actually you didn't do the theme park for NA, did you?
No, so, I'm not casting
I've got
NA at all.
in each region, I believe.
Lucky you, Devin Becker.
Yeah. It's all about that theme park. I think theme park's been really interesting to see. I actually am surprised to see cafe and console bans early, because I feel like after the last couple play days of Latin America, we would see even more cafe and console. Those have just been big favorites in this region, it seems like, so far, now that the auto bans are out. But theme park, as you said, it would be a nice surprise. Black Dragons did have the final ban on that, so they chose theme park instead of coastline. So we'll see how that goes for them. I mean, Latin America as a region sometimes is definitely down to improvise on especially their defense. So it'll be I don't know. I mean, I want to see some off bomb sites. I want to see some drug played. For example, we hadn't seen that.
It was played in NA. It was played in NA, and honestly, I would definitely recommend people going back and watching that EG Reciprocity game, because Reciprocity, I mean, even though it doesn't even count as a spoiler right now, even though it was a tie, Reciprocity were so good on the strategic level. Playing theme park, honestly, it was very impressive.
I have a good breakdown of it coming up, but coming out soon. But I had some website issues, so it got slightly delayed. Otherwise, it would have been out on Sunday.
But honestly, I'm really excited to see that, because, again, I really want to applaud teams that do something particularly amazing in how they're setting up. Reciprocity have been extremely good at that. Tempo Storm also, even in their lost game against Space Station on a Clubhouse, for example, were very effective. Like, there hasn't been anyone safe in Pro League, that's for sure. There's always someone here looking to snipe you, so you should never let your guard down, that's for sure. And same goes for Team Liquid in this game against Black Dragons, because remember, back in the day, around 2.5 years ago, Team Liquid, what we know today, played under Black Dragons. So bit of trivia history here and there. What do people think about this matchup, though?
Gotta imagine, that's about what I would expect. Pretty favored towards Team Liquid, and I mean, rightly so, given the statistics.
Honestly, this is like so massively in Liquid's side, but I want to remind everybody that only yesterday, 89% of people thought that G2 would take their game. Guess how that happened?
Yeah, you never know. I mean, there's definitely teams that you expected and do disappoint. And then we have, a lot of underdogs doing well in different regions at different times, especially Latin America tends to have a lot of surprises. But I don't know. It seems like EU also has definitely been there this second half. So you never really know. That's the beauty of it, is most of these matches are not usually as one-sided as you would expect them to be very often. Just so many small things throughout the rounds that can really change their outcome. One kill here, one missed shot there can really make a huge difference. And you throw utility on top of that, it definitely could be pretty unpredictable.
All right, Devin, how predictable are these operator bans going to be? Because we've seen a lot of Goyo, we've seen some Goyo bans, but a lot of Goyo played. We've seen a lot of Thatcher bans. We've seen Heartbreacher bans. How do you expect this going, knowing Liquid so far and Black Dragons?
I mean, I would say we might see some like Thatcher ban, especially for like Throne Room, things like that. If they really want to get tricky, they could go for the Maverick ban and really make that extra hard to deal with that. But I don't know. I could definitely see at least one hard breacher ban, knowing Latin America, and a Thatcher ban. They really like to do that across a lot of different maps. And this one having that throne room where it's really strong on trying to get the walls open could make a big difference. The other bomb sites maybe not as much. They don't necessarily have as many hard walls that you really need to breach. It comes down to a lot more spread out attacks and trying to catch players at angles. We could see some target banning as well. It's really hard to say because there's not necessarily a ton of ops who are like super overpowered on this map. We don't really know what even the meta would be if Miro were brought to the map, just because it really hasn't been done yet. Echo definitely has some possibility for helping roamers, especially on this map.
Honestly, Valkyrie has as well. Like we've seen a decent chunk of Valkyrie so far on it, and I think a lot of teams that have been trying to run a pulse, for example, so far in trying to adapt into the map with no real metagame preset, it's always way safer to run a Pulse and a Valkyrie together when you're running the operator, just because it gives you that extra information. You never know when people are going to come from behind you. Having the Valkyrie to support that Pulse is also important, but it's just unfortunately when you're playing up in initiation or defending bunks, defending daycare, office, you don't have many opportunities to play with Nitrocell. And in reality, I feel that there's only the control room that is a death trap, basically. Otherwise, there's not really much that you can do with these vertical plays, unless you're an attacker, and even then you'd be attacking into throne room, and even with attacking throne room, like, you're very limited on space. You can only play through a hatch and a couple holes through armory, and if you're lucky to bounce grenades right, if there's no ADS, no Womai, we've been seeing the Jaeger Womai combination. Man, that's so frustrating to deal with.
Yeah, especially when you throw Goyo's shields on top of that. It's definitely something we've seen a fair amount of so far. I mean, there's a lot of grenades to go around. Like you said, there's not as much C4 opportunity, but it does give you I mean, especially for this region, a lot of flexibility in terms of being able to play behind those shields and huck C4s over them. It's not a ton of vertical play on this map when you're only got 2 floors and the first floor doesn't get used too much outside of the throne room defense and the occasional drug lab. So it is definitely going to be a lot of top floor fights. We've seen, some of the meta, especially with EG and Rec, where a lot of the entry comes from the cache side of things. So I expect we might see some of that here.
All right, we're gonna load in.
What will we get for these bans?
Okay, first up ban attack it's Team Liquid banning. Would they ban a Thatcher? I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't either.
Yep, there you go.
There it is.
Okay, so as long as Black Dragons doesn't ban a Maverick because they're starting an attack, they'll be fine. Maverick, honestly, right now, is way, in my opinion, way better than Thermite and Hibana. There's just so few positions and so few maps where you might say, oh, I would love to have anybody other than him, because you just Maverick trick everything. It's so good.
Yeah, and without the Maverick trick, though, I would say Maverick actually would be like hardly ever played.
Yeah, 100%. Oh no, that's not even a question. I was talking about a theme park today, and talking about that push from initiation into bunks, and that wall that's in between those two sites, or those two rooms, is you can't do any vertical anything against it. You have a Thatcher or you're screwed. So you always bring a Maverick. And that wall is going to teach everybody the hard way how to correctly play a Maverick. And trust me, once people figure out, just like SSG and TSM, how to actually play a Maverick, people's mind's going to be blown. The world's going to be your oyster. So right now, if anybody's watching this and they're like, oh, I wonder what operators I should be playing just to get better at the game and actually support my team without being a liability, play Maverick, Zofia, or Buck, at least until, let's see what happens with Buck in the future. But play these 3 ops, learn how to use them correctly, use the utility correctly for Maverick, and you will be peachy clean, and we're probably going to see a lot of him here today. At least I expect it to be the case, because that Thermite right now looks like a massive mistake to me. But we'll see how things go.
Yeah, we'll see in this map, especially. Surprisingly, after Thatcher ban as well, they're not going to play Throne Room, so we're going to go to Bunks. Bunks and Initiation could be semi-interchangeable in that you're defending a lot of the same area, but I noticed that, with Bunks defenses, you do tend to give up a bit more of Initiation, obviously, and play a little bit more on the west side of the map than you would necessarily with Initiation Office defense, where you're a little more on the east or middle side, defending a little harder in those regions. But you do see teams, as you can see here from Nesk and Sexy Cake, playing pretty far on the east side, setting up a lot of defenses to make sure that pushing from cache is at least very slow. You got the bathrooms, for example, with the barbed wire, you got the reinforced walls, but it does look like we're actually going to see a cafe entry, something we didn't see a ton, for example, in EG versus Rec. There was mostly cache side. Cafe side is a pretty common entry, at least in ranked, though. You'll definitely see a lot of that. It's all about these balconies, though, right? You've got the cafe terrace, and then you've got this balcony here. Those kind of act as staging areas for these attacks. You'll see these drones stack up. You almost always see a pest right there. We've seen players do a lot of the sacrifice a drone to it.
Yeah.
I jump it back outside.
That so much. I love that so much.
Like, that seems to be the meta for that.
Who was? I don't remember who was casting. Were you casting with Kix the EG game? With reciprocity? Yeah.
They kept doing it over and over. It was
exactly
Ordiga that was doing it, I think.
Yeah, so what you do is you back up your drone, you push it in back first into the doorway, it gets caught by the Mozzie, and then the first thing the Mozzie does once, you know, he gets control of a drone and gets on it, is that you press space. And so what happens is that you actually throw the drone outside into the balcony and make sure that the attackers just destroy it and they can just come in with no problems. Sexy Cake is actually giving a bit of a hard time here to Black Dragons and staying inside of the Dragon Stairs area. Yep, there it is, collected. He's actually playing in kayaks right now, so I'm very curious. I'm expecting to see Nitro Cell sailing wide and hitting anybody in control of him. This has the markings all over it of being a massive death trap for BD.
Yeah, they definitely are slow going in here. It's a minute and a half. They're still just kind of getting their footing inside cash. Not a great start in the C4, possibly out here for Sexy Cake as well. Try and push them back further. This is going to be a fairly aggressive defense. You see a lot of angles being set up as well. Nomad is going to help with the rotates, but there isn't a ton that they have to worry about just yet. It's really, they don't have enough map control to really need the air jabs. And actually, some vertical play is going to happen. There we go. Showers, such a problem for attackers. And Nesk actually had a nice angle there, kind of going entirely through the room.
It's a great shot there. The swing. Okay, there it is. Okay, perfectly baited at the top of Dragon. I mean, you either go into control and die, or you go at the top of Dragon, stay there because you have no other map control, and then you die again. As I said, Death Trap. Here it is again. 2 kills collected. You lost the Buck, you lost the Nomad. Sure, you have your utility out, and you don't have to actually really breach into this site, but it's all time wasting. And right now, everybody's talking about this quote-unquote 20-second meta. What people don't understand is that the defenders have gotten so good at spreading outside of the site, opening up. That the extension is the main thing. Paulo's gonna find one more. That burns time, and the attackers just don't know what to do. They're so confused when it's all so simple. Watch your sides. Nesk with one more. Finally, he gets taken down, but Moringa on the refrag means that Liquid, a semi-perfect round here, as Black Dragons couldn't even get into initiation properly.
And that's the thing, playing spread out like the way they are really depends on the map. And in this map in particular, the way that bunks and initiation kind of work together, there's so many places you can play that the attackers just can't cut off the rotates. And that's the big thing is, if as an attacker, you know, you're playing against an aggressive spread out defense, but you don't have a way to cut out the rotates back to site, there's so little you can do. As long as they don't overpeak themselves, they can continue to push you back and push you back. And we'll see that again here with initiation being the site, not wanting to go to throne room just yet. So we'll again see more pushback. We're going to see Sexy Cake switch to a different C4 operator, this time onto the Pulse instead of the Mozzie.
I mean, what do you think? Is throne room like really the best site that you play here, and why? I'm very curious.
I mean, it'll depend on the op bans, I think, to some extent, in terms of how difficult it is. If Mavericks banned, I think Throne becomes even stronger for sure. But at the same time, like, Throne is obviously the most known of the defenses. It's the most predictable. However, over time, I think we'll see the shift around, and if people do come up with a really strong drug defense, we might see it played more. But I think it is definitely the most difficult of the bomb sites to really be able to play well, partially because of the cafe takes on top of that. So I don't think we'll see the meta shift a ton, other than maybe bunks and initiation, kind of one of those two becoming one of the primary bomb sites, with Throne just being a bit more predictable, because it's debatable how many people you turtle inside there, right? If you want to be able to play roam and then fall back to site, but again, you have to make sure your rotates don't get cut off, and with playing on 2 floors like that, it's more likely to happen.
Yeah, and you know, you try to use the Jaeger also to kind of move around the map, as Liquid usually do. That's why you put Nesk on it. A lot of people are gonna keep QQing and crying about, you know, Jaeger 2-2. What people don't understand is that most of the people that are complaining about it are just ones that don't know how to play an operator that isn't something that where you run around and get kills, or you know, don't understand that a 2-2 actually might give you more survivability. But fair enough. PSK is gonna get the first kill. Your only heart breacher. How do you now come in? This entire side of the attack is borked. You can't just come into bunks and breach into initiation. You have nothing to do that. Hugs would at least take down Moringa or something. This is Nitro Cell off, but it's a mute. It's not the end of the world. His work is already done. The others can still hold longer angles. You have a Pulse to give you info, and Nesk to run around the map. PSK and Paulo that have their ACOGs. It's all good. There's Nesk. He hits Hugsword. He's going to play behind the Goyo shield. Literally nothing you can't do against him. And PSK is holding another one inside of the game room. PSK with one more in the PZD. And it's all falling apart. Black Dragons have no idea how to deal with this. And Liquid shred through Hornetau. there it is. Liquid, again, successful on the 2 sites. Not even, like, barely entering the building. So well done by Liquid.
I mean, the difficulty with attacking the top floor sites is it does become very predictable where you're going to enter. Unless you clear from the bottom up and play that way, you're pretty much going to be entering where it's expected. There's not a ton of entry spots to clear. It's either the cafe side or the cache or control room side. It's like those are pretty much your entry points, and all of those are being contested very aggressively by Liquid, and they're hitting their shots. Obviously, it doesn't matter if you contest it if you can't hit your shots, but these are all strong fraggers on this team as well, so it's going to be very difficult for Black Dragons to get any attack wins here. We did almost go to Drug Lab for a second, but we're actually just going to go to Throne. Yep. This is where they might be able to get a little bit more map control, just because they could enter and clear top floor a little less contested.
You say that, though.
In theory.
In theory. That's the theory. Like, Nesk is probably going to be playing top floor. You can have PSK with him, but you can really just leave Sexy Cake on site and Moringa as well, and then Paulo just roaming somewhere near Barrels or Drug Lab, and then obviously he can nitro anybody that comes into Cafe, or he can play at the top floor here between Initiation, Office, and Daycare. You can have Nesk as well in support, PSK2 with a couple of Goyo shields here and there. You're not going to have a fun time. The only real angles that you're going to get as an attacker if you take that top floor control, first of all, it requires you to come in and actually have time. 2, it's the hatch on top here in the hallway, which is open to rotate back on the site, and in the office. And even then, those angles only break into armory. So unless you're really good at nading, you're not going to have a good time. But this is why, for now, Hugsword and BCD are coming in with both the buck and the sledge, and they bring the grenades. This is a good thing to have. You have the operators that are required for this thing.
I really think the site could be even stronger as well if you can bring a Womai, depending on your lineup, just because, you know, there's opportunity to nade over top of the walls on the throne room itself. There's a lot of nading from above you can do. Yeah, you're obviously can stop a fair bit, but the more you can deny their ability to use any of their utility into the site, the better.
Oh boy.
So, here we go again, aggressive contesting here on Cafe.
PZD dropped down to around 45 HP. And there's no information. They're still trying to take in from Cafe. There's a drone around the side that can give you that info, but I'm not sure if there's someone supporting on the side in this game room. And there's the pre-fire. He knows it's right around the corner, and an easy shot. PZD peeks again, and now at half HP. Not going to survive for long. There's even ADSs here in support, and Paulo is the one sitting inside of the upper arcade room. And he's firing away. Wag is already down himself to around 30 HP. This is proving to be really difficult. You can't just go in and face check. It's not something that you can constantly do. Lagona still wins the gunfight, but at what cost? So much HP lost, and it's not like you have that top floor cleared. There's still 2 players up here just waiting for you, and they can dive out at any moment. Look, Sexy Cake, he's ready. There's a pre-fire, 1 done. What are these nomad traps going to do to you? Nothing. He's back in kayaks, back in maintenance, and will just sit on site and even hold atop a dragon if he wants. Oh no.
I mean, wow. Lagonis is definitely the only one salvaging this right now. Being able to get those 2 kills that really were those face checks he shouldn't have been able to win. But at the same time, this is still probably lost cause of a round. Just because the amount of time spent just trying to get in the building. And the sheer denial of it. I mean, Lagonis and Wag, both at low health. I mean, Paula is as well, but PSK and Sexy are more likely to hit the shots at this point.
Okay, question. Is there a mute jammer on the wall from Barrels into Throne Room? If there is, you can't do anything. Yeah, it is. So how you just can't. You have to come in from the side and push into Armory, and I'm not sure if there's anything set on the Armory side. Yeah, there's double bandits. Oh my god, this is so bad. It's so bad. You're gonna have to face check 3 players waiting on site. They know where you're coming from. There's Goyo shields, ADSs, the whole shebang. Yep. You're gonna have a bad time. Nitro Cell's gonna be prepped. There's 1 Goyo shield popped on purpose. Nitro hits perfectly on Alagonis and PSK with a finisher. Honestly, it's like everything is being done exactly the way that I predicted it to be in the pregame. This is it. It's not good.
Well, it's 100% Liquid in control. They're just guarding all of the entrances. I'm waiting for them to just start spawn peeking at this point and not even letting them get out of spawn, because they're just completely denying everything that we're seeing try and come out from Black Dragons, with the exception of Lagonis's 2 face checks that he won. Really, it's just denial. And I mean, you saw how many times Sex Cake peeked the doorway of Cafe and got away with it. that kind of control, like unless they get tilted, start making some mistakes on Liquid's side, these attacks are just going to continue to be pretty poor from Black Dragons because it takes them 2 minutes to fight their way into the door. What can you do at that point? And then you've got, utility situations towards the end of the round. At least they're going to bring Maverick this time because they're not really getting any mileage out of Thermite. You got to keep in mind, even if they don't do any hard breaching, they're going to get more value out of Maverick because he's got a slightly better gun. He's a 3-speed and he's got grenades. So there is a lot of benefit to bringing him over the Thermite, especially if you're not even getting a chance to hard breach.
So what's the play here from Liquid? They'll go back again to top. I don't know if they're going to see Drug Lab. Honestly, or Lab as they call it now. It doesn't have that connotation anymore, but we're still kind of in remembrance of olden days theme park. But yeah, you're not really going to see anybody playing a Lab, even though I think the way that Reciprocity played it, like really peeling off between different parts of the different rooms of this map is just so good. I really have to commend them yet again for how good their play was on a site that everybody was thinking is just not good for lack of a better term. But there's a Black Dragons now on the Assault and they're bringing the Maverick. This is the change. I love this. Exactly when you need to bring. Okay, for now I consider, the time of Habana and Thermite to be done. Boomers, your time is done. It's time for the new kids on the block. And by new kids, I mean Maverick, even though he's been out for 1.5 years. This is the time for people to start learning that he's your savior. Bring him. Pre-fire around the corner as the Buck is going to reset his aim. And there's Nesk waiting again. How do you deal with this? You can't just dive into control room and go for a gunfight. There's probably somebody downstairs from Liquid waiting for you. There's one.
Diving in.
Not the play. The drone can't even see where he is. They're dropping down on the floor to avoid his fire. It's bad when that's happening and he's back in office. The wall isn't opened up at all, but there's one that actually entered into cash and the fire, the finisher from Nesk. He's collecting kills for free. They can't even stop him. He's a madman running around the map. And Hornatal still down on that 75 or so HP. The Doc is going to heal his teammate back up. It's all going well, and what does Liquid do? They know that their opponents are going to come in from Cafe. So what do? They bring everybody back. There's the headshot. Paulo clean on the PZD's head. Not going well at all for the Dragons.
I mean, at this point, what do you even do against this? They really need some kind of utility that they can use to stop this. I mean, at this point, you might as well just bring, Ying to start just throwing candelas in and hope you can get in some kind of room. Hugzorn, unfortunately, dropping probably isn't going to even be a huge impact on this with how little Black Dragons are able to do. But it will mean, as is typical for Latin America, we will have likely a rehost after this. But hey, at least WAG able to get one.
So there's Nesk also coming up close, and he's going to get a free kill in the Nomad. Perfect. One more still on the side, and they know where he's at. Wag's going to get one, but he's solo on HP. Nitrosil is going to be thrown out. It's a bit too far away. The pre-fire hits just right. And there's the Maverick still around there. Grenade being thrown. Of course, Maverick has access to that. And there it is. Sexy Cake will get the finisher. We'll go for a rehost, I guess.
Yeah, very likely. I don't see you getting back in just yet, so we'll just take a second. It should be pretty easy to put the data back in this. Team Liquid won 4 rounds. Okay, done.
Easy.
Yeah, easy. That's how it looked, honestly. It looked like terrorist hunt
exactly
for Liquid.
How it was.
It was like, oh, hey, there's terrorists that are entering the building. Let's just go ahead and pop their heads as they walk in.
What was it? They lost 5 players. There was only 5 kills on Black Dragon's side. And honestly, this is like playing T-Hunt on the hardest difficulty, even as a squad, because you're like, oh, somebody's gonna, get shot down somehow, just messing about. And honestly, this is mostly just one player running around the map and doing work. Nesk is not even doing anything special. He's literally holding an angle.
He's just peeking everything.
He's holding the angle from the end of prep phase until the end of the round. And that's it. He's not doing anything special. He's just winning everything because that's not how you attack. You can't just push players in from one angle and guys, we lost 3 dudes from here. Let's go attack from the other side. And then you just get shot down the same way on the other side because it's so predictable. It was just...
Yeah.
Black Dragons went for this map thinking that they can outplay Liquid. Unfortunately, I want to say this, and I hope that Liquid doesn't prove me completely wrong once they go on the attack themselves. No prep, pretty much.
Yeah, it definitely seems like you really need a lot of extra strategies because this whole let's just keep entering over and over isn't going to work. They need something that can really deal with their entry, making sure that they're actually able to get some element of map control. And we're not seeing any real adjustments here from Black Dragons. That does make it seem like they're just really not super prepared for this. They were hoping, okay, well, we know what kind of the meta is. We go in here, we take this part of the map, and so on. And then Liquid's saying, yeah, we know that too, so we're just going to stand there and shoot you as you do so. And it's unless Black Dragons bring something different or Liquid just starts missing their shots after this rehost, I don't see really this changing much. This could be a quick series of attack rounds, and then Liquid being able to close that out on their attack if they can get successful attacks against 1 or 2 rounds at that point. I think because we're likely to see 4 or 5 rounds at least of wins for Liquid here. Is already at what, 3 or 4? I think 4 now. So not looking good for Black Dragons at all. This could be a pretty short match unless their defense is really good as well.
By the way, I don't know if people have been around social media over the past few minutes, but ASL Rainbow Six has posted a really funny tweet, as is tradition. Actually, it's hilarious. We should give our social media manager a bit of a boost there. There's an update that's coming to Rainbow Six Pro League. Pro League map pool will be extended to 11 maps. That, of course, will include Yacht. Pick phase timer will be down to 10 seconds. 6 pick replaced with 6 ban. Lion has been quarantined once again, as it only makes any sense. Attackers from now on, this might sound like the biggest change, but maybe it is. Attackers from now on will pick which bomb sites to attack. So finally, friendly fire damage has been disabled. So if anything, this is definitely going to affect EU Pro League tomorrow. And with friendly fire damage being disabled, I wonder if Rogue won't just automatically become the best team to ever grace the stage at EUPL. Honestly, this kind of comes in at a weird time, but it's definitely something that Rogue will welcome.
Yeah, obviously, you just start running LMGs at that point, throw some smoke down, and just start spraying.
I mean, actually, that's not too bad of a strategy. I mean, with Ying.
Yeah. Well, we are back in, I think, here, so it's just going to take a second to come back up on your screen, but it looks like we're going initiation for Black Dragons here, and they are bringing up one change. Oh, they're bringing either the Jackal or Dokkaebi, depending on if they go for a 6th pick there. Nope, I'm not going to change it. So the Jackal and Monty. All right, here we go.
Okay, how did not have Liquid shoot us in the face? I got it, guys. A shield.
Yeah, cover your face. Bring Blackbeard, too, while you're at it.
Honestly? Maybe.
I mean, might be worth it. They almost 6-picked to the Legion as well. You saw Sexkick doing it at first, and then went to the Pulse instead. The Legion definitely would have been helpful here. It's going to take a second for everyone to load in. We saw this yesterday with rehosts as well. Sometimes it takes everyone kind of reboots their game during the rehost, and then it takes a second to kind of load all of the game data again, like the map and whatnot. So it'll just be a brief moment while everyone does this. So you can see the hourglasses for everyone. It's not one particular player. Hopefully no one drops out during this.
There it is. Woohoo.
Almost there. Well, we will be going to initiation again, so
it'll be the first of many. We'll see.
Yeah, likely to see Throne again after this if Liquid win, which, given how things have gone, likely will. I don't think bringing the Jackal is going to change a whole lot for them because, I don't think knowing whether they were playing was actually the problem.
No, they knew exactly where they were. Liquid knew exactly where Black Dragons were. There wasn't lack of information. It's just there's literally a dude staring at you in the face and he's shooting you. The response really is the Monty, and I get it, but this is kind of a desperation move if you ask me.
So I'm thinking the Blackbeard is not the worst play possible here because they had trouble just entering windows even. Some upside down Blackbeard repels or something. I don't know, just bring in some fun for that. The Monty is a good idea though.
Fun? In Pro League?
Well, getting shot in the shield is a lot more fun than getting shot in the face, so.
There it is. Nusk is gonna wag at his teammate. And will Black Dragons go for the same take again? They might be going for a split. Yeah, they might just come in from cash or maybe from below to push up the staircase with the Monty.
That would be a good idea, but it looks like you can just go Cafe instead.
Is there anybody downstairs from Liquid? The entirety of Cafe is breachable. You can nitro this super easily. I guess Black Dragons are watching downstairs just in case it's such a play. And PSK still hits Hornetau. I can't believe it. The Ash is still taken down, and it's taken down from behind. Oh, the drone hole is so well done. There's nobody even
already.
outside.
Drone hole, like that TCSG through that drone hole. He's been using it every round basically that he can, and it's working every time. There's always someone's foot there. This is the toe killer gun.
I mean, yeah, it's still going to be good no matter what. At this range, you're two-shotting no matter what. And there's some more pre-fire in the back. Black Dragons is still being pulled back because this Monty is nothing more than a tiny bit menacing. And yeah, he's going to stand there menacingly whilst his teammates are dying in the back. Well, he's going to deny that finisher from being done, but he can pre-fire through the wall. There's one more shot from Paulo. PSK with one more. Your last alive now, if you count PCD being down, is Hugsword. And he's the Monty. He's going to fall back. What you going to do about this? This is not pretty. Devin, this is like genuinely not pretty. There's one
out
connection.
the window at some point, just going behind Monty.
There it is.
Or not. This is starting to look more and more like that T-Hunt. This is Liquid just basically denying Black Dragons from even playing the game at this point. I mean, I hate to say it, but why are Black Dragons even bothering to spawn in? This is just a slaughter in terms of their ability to just trying to get in the building. I mean, Throne, maybe this is their best chance to get in, but such an aggressive defense upstairs makes it seems like doesn't matter what side it is, they're just denied entry. Ooh, will they actually go with the mine this time? Again, it is strong on this particular bomb site, so no, he's going to go with the bandit. He just wants to deny their entry in from the thermite. Again, thermite, not a great choice. The Maverick should be the choice here. You know it's Throne.
No question about it. First of all, the Maverick. Number two, I mean, you're bringing the Jackal. The most thing that the Jackal did to you in the last round is to say, hey guys, they're over there. And yeah, that was pretty much it. However, they're going to switch off of it and bring the Dokebi. And as you mentioned before, Devin, the problem is not knowing where Liquid is. They know where they are. It's just, how do we deal with them? And you make the same mistake of bringing the Thermite. Why Black Dragons? Why? It's, honestly, if there's one map where I can tell you Thermite is by far and away your worst choice as a Heartbreacher, it's this one. There's so many ways that I can spend the next hour explaining this. I won't. But I'll tell you, bring Maverick, and you'll be so good, so fine. You're bringing the Zofia, bringing Ash, you're bringing Sledge, you bring the Buck as well if you want. There's no need to bring the Thermite. It's honestly useless. I never thought I'd be saying this, but on this map, you can 100% say, bring the Maverick alone, and you're fine.
Yeah, especially when, like you said, you could be bringing that Buck and Sledge together. That would have been the choice. I mean, again, the Dokkaebi as well, not a great choice on this map in terms of the way that they're playing it. They're really not going to get much out of the phone calls. I don't think Liquid are going to bother with their hanging up their phones. I think they're just going to stand there and shoot you as the phone rings again. Like, here's Moringa and Nesk just continuing to deny entry. Nesk has really been doing a good job of it, especially though, just continuing to peek. I like that they're using the tables turned over here to be able to flank from both sides as well. You're not getting into Cafe at this point. Hugsword actually survives that rappel though.
He actually went into the break room. And unfortunately for him is that the entirety of break room, it's indestructible. So you can't have anyone shooting you from below. And I don't know if the wall was reinforced actually into door. Oh, Hornetau walks right into the line of fire. Ness collects a kill for free. Didn't even know about it. There's one player in the back. That should be the Thermite there if he's running the elite skin. And ADSs are being burned. Is it going to do anything? No, at least there's no shield in front of Nesk here to block. It's PCD will finally collect the kill. Oh my god. We have an equilibrium, Devin. PCD,
yeah,
that was going to be down.
Last though.
Oh, wow. One more from Hugsword.
What's the surprising turn of events? We'll see a pickup as well. So, man advantage finally to Black Dragons. How long will that last? Will they be able to actually get something happening here? You see a call out for a ping on the wall for Lagonis to actually open a wall with Thermite as well. Things are definitely slowed down, but problem is, this is what happens with Throne Room. They don't get all killed outside, but they never really actually get into the Throne Room. Ooh, that's really unfortunate for Pala.
There's tiny angles I was talking near the hatch, around that area. This is where you're going to be finding good positions. And when you're up there, you can make it work. You can push people out of the armory. Now the Thermite will make sense. If you can actually destroy those bandit batteries, you could nade into them if you have the utility for it. But it seems like Black Dragons really preoccupied on that top floor. You still need to go down, and yeah, there's the kill. Lagonis is out. You're not going to be reaching into the site, and if you're smart now, you just stay inside of it, behind the throne room or behind the throne itself, and no one's going to be able to come into you. Even 2v3, these angles can easily be held. The pre-fire around the corner, the Dokkaebi here going for the fight. You're going to get shot in the head, and 2 more left. They're so low on HP at around 20 each. One tap from literally anything will take you down. PSK is setting up though with his TCSG.
15 seconds to go.
And try to walk in. Sexy Cake on the rotate. He's checking the walls. The barbed wires are being tapped in the meantime. Maybe just being off the site is not the greatest play here, as BZD will find PSK. They don't know where the bandit is. Sexy Cake will get one. Is there any time? It's down to 0-0. Hugzord is going to lose this one. Sexy Cake should be able to find him here. Half a second left. There's the kill. It's done. Diffuser's been set. The closest we've had so far. Unfortunately for Black Dragons, it's a 6-0. Heart Breach. None of it available. None of it done. None of it even possible. You found the kills off of the angles. Liquid might have gotten a bit too cocky, but that's about it.
Well, yeah, it was definitely probably didn't need to throw as many people off site right there at the end as they did, but at the same time, being off site actually helped them be in a situation where they weren't going to be pinned into particular corners and things like that. The Black Dragon were going to be able to somewhat predict. But at the end of the day, even man advantage isn't enough for Black Dragon to be able to get into these sites. They lose so many people just passing through the gauntlet of pushing in that, there was almost, pointless to even get a man advantage at that point, just because you can't get the last few with such little time left. But hey, side switch now, so we could get a totally different outcome. Could see Black Dragons coming back, but I know if I was Black Dragons right now, I'd be pretty tilted. It'd be pretty difficult to feel like, okay, we can bring this back, no big deal, because it wasn't just a 6-0. It was a pretty dominant 6-0. We will see Sexy Cake, ever the player to adopt new ops, trying something. We saw quite a bit of that from Cameraman, former member of FaZe. It didn't work out so great, but Sexy Cake, if anyone could pull it off, I feel like he could be the one to. This will be a good bomb site for it, I suppose, because you are going to have to deal with those electric claws, and it is a good way to clear the electric claws out, because if he pre-places those and the mute jammers, yeah, you'll be able to take those out pretty easily, but he only has 3, and so obviously do what you can. But as you mentioned before, why bring the thermite? You're really gonna have to hit those Cali shots to make sure, or make sure you clear out all the utility. Yeah. Otherwise, it's gonna be kind of pointless bringing that thermite again.
Why? Okay, we were having this conversation about Kali and how she works, and maybe she's the real deal when it comes to a Thatcher ban. Honestly, you substitute the Kali and the thermite with just one operator, just with the Maverick. That's it. You get the same level of work. Yeah, sure, you don't open the wall completely. Who cares though? You're opening half of it, and you can open another wall as well using it. You don't have to keep juggling against people playing with a Qa'id or a mute or a bandit. You don't have to keep working alongside that. Just remove the wall, remove the reinforcement, delete it. You don't need to do this. We're being maybe harsh and critical, but honestly, we're in 2020 now. People have realized Maverick is the future. This is the time. I really want to start seeing more Maverick, because I feel he's been massively neglected, just like Jackal was back in the day, way before he got nerfed. And this is the moment for it. There's the peek though from Nesk, and he's gonna lose the gunfight against Hornet Tau. So this is what it feels like to try to push in through Cafe, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely all about the Jaeger peaks on the cafe door. It seems like Nesk was doing it consistently. Now we're seeing it work for Black Dragons. It is kind of funny to see Liquid fall to the same thing, though, in terms of they probably should be a little better prepared for this, exactly what they were doing for 6 rounds in a row. Moringa, though, going to take out PZD, so evening things up a little bit. That's one of the entry players down. If they could take out Sexy Cake as well, then PSK is going to have pretty much nothing to do.
So, can they actually catch anybody off guard? And also, will it be Black Dragons coming out of the site to contest anybody inside of the lab? Of course, you talked about it, Moringa. He got 1 kill on PCD. He removed the Nitro Cell. Liquid have complete control of the top of the top floor. There's a minute and a half left. The IQ is going to scan around just to see what sort of utility is around. So you can have all of that tagged and bagged. And the Kali is going to start working on the wall. But from above, you can, of course, start destroying those tiny angles that you can put to your advantage. You have a set of grenades here that you can use on Moringa. It's all set for Team Liquid. At least when they're pushing in, they have all the utility necessary to come in, regardless of time.
Well, now they're just clearing out ADSs at this point to make sure they can clear the wall. I believe there's probably just a mute jam on the other side of it. There's the electric claw going up. It's going to probably be up in time, but is that well-timed Kelly shot? Will that take care of it? And
oh no!
here we go. I think they might be able to pull this off here. And there we go. Still took 2 ops to do it, as you said, where Maverick could have made it basically 1. But, you know, it's still more success than we saw from Black Dragon's attacks. Now they just got to capitalize on this. They do have at least a sniper then that can hold angles afterwards, so you are still getting some utility out of the sniper rifle. Nice nade over the top as they've cleared all the ADSs. Doesn't do any damage though.
And Nitrocell will say loud. You're trying to look for a headshot there. I'm not sure if they know about the operator behind. Oh, the trick shots are not going to work. Hornatow with 1, Paulo on the refrag to make it a 3-3. Again, this is just wasting so much time, and Kali is just so worthless in this case. There's Liquid dropping 1, losing him. That's to Wog. Paulo with a refrag on a Wog. 1 second left. Are you planting? No, you're not. You don't have any info.
Finally.
Honestly, like, I get the Kali thermite thing, but again, it's 2 operators to do the job of 1. And on top of all of that, you also needed the grenades. You needed Zofia in support. Like, you needed like 3 or 4 operators to help you there. You don't actually need any of that with a Maverick. You only need 1 operator to help you just to breach into the soft wall. That's it. And it's a done deal. You can keep 1 explosive. And it's all
well,
good.
The benefit for Liquid now is they don't have to deal with throne room for the next 2 rounds. So there's a good chance that they close this out. Bunks and Initiation, like I said, can have some similarity. They share a lot of walls, but
unless what happens is that Black Dragons see that Liquid are entering all from Cafe.
Yeah, and then Sexy Cake bringing Kelly again. And it's not the play here. Cameraman, I thought, maybe taught the rest of Latin America that over-committing to that was a bad idea, but apparently Liquid wasn't watching that.
I know they can't hear me right now, but please, for anybody watching, this time is done. This time is over. Thermite, Hibana, specifically on this map, not worth it. If Maverick isn't banned, bring him. Don't hesitate. It's worth it. Trust me. It's worth it.
To be fair, Liquid have such a point lead right now, I can kind of understand why they might just want to experiment, see what they can get away with. But you saw what happened when he tried to get into that gunfight and close engagement. So it's like, yeah, you can help open a wall, but you're kind of useless afterwards somewhat. As opposed to even, just like Thatcher, for example, right? We see plenty of players who can frag out on Thatcher just fine, and he can help, at medium to close range. Whereas you're not going to see that really from Kali. Kali's kind of a one-trick pony. And not even a very good trick at that.
No, I completely agree. I know I said I'm sold on Kali now just because I think it was Rise got a couple kills with her in a couple rounds, but who cares about kills? Your job is the utility. And I think in that case, the Maverick was banned. I'll have to look back at that Villa game for the op bans, but if it wasn't and the Maverick wasn't being used in the way that we're seeing him now, those tricks, destroying the reinforcement, it's definitely not great. But that's it. I just want to try to limit my ranting for this evening because I've had enough. I've really had enough of teams and people actually being kind of blind around what's available and what's probably the better choice. But Liquid, again, as you said, they're so far ahead. They're already walking in. They have control of cash, and that's Nesk. There's a fully reinforced wall here that you should be able to breach to. Actually, Black Dragons didn't bring a single operator to deny a wall. There's no mute. There's no bandit. There's no Qaed.
It's too bad on the no mute, because mute's pretty good on this to be able to deny you be able to drone the bathrooms right there. So, probably would have been a smart idea to bring the mute, but
the long angle, the Ash.
Yep.
There it is.
Squinsies.
He's going to turn around. He knows that there's one more inside of... There we go. He needs it. He needs the info. He's going to get the tag, walk in, pre-fire on the corner, and he's got control. Moringa will find Hugsword and reloading quickly in the Ash. He's not sure where the player relocated to, but he knows he spotted the edge, and there's the kill. Ness collecting them all. And there's 2 more left. PZD, nice Logone shot down. He's the last alive. Rotate back. Find a free kill on Apollo. He's low HP on the IQ. You turn around. You actually find the Ash, and you're down to 30 HP yourself. The wall is soft, and there's 3 players left from Team Liquid, and you should be able to enter here with no problems. Most of the reinforcements were set around cash.
On 45 seconds left. He hears the diffuser going down, though. And His body is soon to follow going down.
Pizza Man, no delivery except for a big fat L for Black Dragons this evening. I'm taking, a few lines off of Veli right now.
Well, overall, that was. I'm honestly even surprised Black Dragons got one round there. Not because they're a bad team, but because Liquid was playing very well and Black Dragons wasn't really doing anything to counter it. And unfortunately, like, part of what you need to do to counter it is to win your gunfights. But at the end of the day, it was just Liquid, had just a perimeter, and there was nothing utility-wise outside of that one Monty attempt